Okay, hello again, everybody. This is Larry Lickstein from Suburban Lanes in Morgantown, West Virginia. This evening, you're watching a three-game sweeper. Our feature pair is lanes 15 and 16. And we'd like to welcome all of you aboard. First place this evening is $600, second is $400, third is $300, with last spot being 7th, 30 bowlers, $175. Tomorrow we start our qualifying at 8:30. We have a projected field of about 170 bowlers, plus $5,000 added. We're looking at a prize fund tomorrow and Sunday, roughly $22,000. $22,000.
You can actually come back a little ways. It'll hear you from back here.
Okay.
So you can see how yourself in the...
I got it.
So
I got it.
I'll be right back.
Brandon Williams, my sidekick, will be up here in a minute. He's finishing getting our scores in the computer for tonight's competition. We've got some field here already. We've got Brian Robinson on 15 and 16 that just won a PBA regional about 5 weeks ago. The great B.J. Moore out of Greensburg is here, who's won 2 PBA titles. The Elias Cup being the latest one up in Maine. And, of course, the wonderful Amanda Green, who won in 2015 on the Ladies Tour. And the living legend, Brad Angelo, who was just crowned this year's USBC All-Events winner, along with Brandon Novak, who won the USBC All-Events last year. So we have the 2 reigning All-Events winners, a PBA champion, a PWBA champion, and a regional champion. It's a 38-foot pattern, very flat, very tough, a lot of carry down, a lot of volume up front, and when the ball comes off the oil, it'll snap real hard on the back, and they'll tighten up as the competition goes on. We don't expect real high scores on this pattern. It seems like the bowlers want the lowest scores possible, so that's what we're hoping for, as strange as it might be. Angelo up on lane 15, playing in the track. Pretty good shot right out of the chute, just a little bit to the right. Very speed sensitive shot here on this pattern. And of course with transition, boy, you better be on your toes. Brian Robinson looks like he's playing out. He went two-handed recently and won his first PBA regional. Pretty good shot there. Oops. Just jumped out of his hand. It looked pretty good in the front and just took off. Spares are critical. I figure 670 to win it all. I'm with Justin Malik, who's now sitting with me. He's the general manager here at Suburban, who just signed a regional contract with Brunswick, who is our host this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, our host sponsor. We want to thank John Hill and all the people at Brunswick for supporting us now. This is their 3rd tournament that they've sponsored here in Morgantown, and great company, great equipment, nicest people in the industry. Got one of our junior bowlers bowling on lanes 15 and 16. Jake Mullen, who works here and runs the desk and cleans house shoes, and he begged me to bowl, and I said, well, get ready to be 400 under, and he doesn't care.
He just wants to bowl, Rich.
He takes an 18-foot approach, 7 steps, two-handed, and wants to be a pro, and we're letting him bowl. Oops. Well,
that was wide.
As Nelson Burton would have said to Chris Schenkel years ago, just a little bit to the right, Chris.
Just a bit outside.
Just a bit outside.
Something I've already seen in just a few frames that we've got so far, Lich, is the fact that there's quite a few opens on the board already.
Well, this pattern here with no hold and very little, very little drive, very little friction to the right, you really got to splice it. Speed control is critical, surface is critical, If you're a half a board off, you can miss the head pin on either side. You got to be
about
very
this.
careful.
We talked about this watching guys practice on the shot here at our house. You have to make those spares.
Oh, that's a great shot by the young boy at 13. Look at that.
Nice.
Gutter
Good
ball
shot,
and
Jake.
a spare. Wonderful. Wonderful.
Perfect.
That's what we want.
Now we have the veteran coming up.
Brad Angelo on lane 16, very methodical, looking down, getting the feet just right, hand position, checking everything, leading the left shoulder a little. It's not going to open him up much. Pretty straight through the front. A little high. Broke it up again, lucky. 9 on this condition is wonderful.
Yes. 9 spares will get you there.
Yep.
Catch a couple strikes in between.
Got to maximize your doubles on this.
It's also great we got John Buckley there. You see him on lane 17. John bowls in our scratch league. John's 78 years old and as competitive as they get.
And for those of you from the New York, New Jersey area, he was originally the founder of the Sports Reporter, the bowling magazine and bowling newspaper that was in the New York area in the 70s and 80s. And he now lives in Fairmont, West Virginia. He's retired, but he's originally from New Jersey, I believe. Been bowling 60 years.
Never misses.
Never
he
misses.
Doesn't miss. He hasn't missed a week. He had surgery one morning on his ear and was there that night bowling.
And we have both defending champions here from last year's tournament. Brad Angelo, who won our first event in June, and Greg Young from Florida, who won our July event, flew up to bowl this one. It's great to see Greg again. Fine young man. Great game. And we're very honored to have him back here. This weekend, I'll be interviewing most of the bowlers I mentioned this evening. Naturally, Brandon Novak and Brad Angelo about their USBC wins, and of course, Amanda Green and Tim Foy Jr. and B.J. Moore and many more. And on Sunday, I've got a man coming in the booth with me that when you hear his story, and I'm not going to tell you, number one, he's 93. And number two, his wife bowls 3 leagues a week here. I believe they've been married 67 years. But he's going to tell us a story about World War II that is fascinating. And as we know, every day in this country, many of those veterans pass on. And we're going to hear something that I don't believe any of our listeners and viewers have ever heard before, coming out of a bowling center. It's an unbelievable story. He'll be talking about it Sunday in the early afternoon, probably between our last round of qualifying while we're oiling the lanes for our match play. Probably between 12 and 2 on Sunday. Last year, Brad Angelo won our sweeper, shot about 710, and won the first tournament. He swept it. Didn't bowl the second tournament in July, but he came back for this one. And obviously, he's a great shot maker, great lane reader. Always a factor when he bowls. So let's see what he does here on lane 15. A little heavy on the first shot. Let's see what he does here. Looks pretty good there. Great shot, carried to week 10. 6 coming out of the flat gutter here isn't that easy. It's an older house, carries tough. That was a great shot. Straightened it up a little bit through the front. Amanda Green ripping the rack on lane 14. Boy, does she throw it great. Fantastic young bowler. You'll notice Brian Robinson's wearing a glove on his left hand, and I guess during the Proprietors' Cup in Dayton, there was a big to-do about it. I didn't read much about it. I heard about it. There was over 800 comments about him wearing the glove on the left hand. Again, I wasn't part of that, thank God. But very interesting what the two-handers do compared to the one-handers. It's just a whole different game. They play it different. Obviously, wearing a glove on the opposite hand is pretty much unheard of. But when you use that hand to hold the ball, it has to have some effect. David Bate, who started with a triple on lane 15, just 4, 6, 7, 10, got a little soft. Rhode Island Hall of Famer, drove in here today with Robert Toth. Bill Tessier. Took the 650-mile ride from New England. We're honored to have them here along with Chucky Burr. All NEBA champions. Great players from the great state of Rhode Island. Yes, I am doing play-by-play, and this is live. Okay. Just talking to the man that runs one of our 4 restaurants in here, Drew. What a job him and his crew do here. This place packs for every football game, basketball game. Tonight we got the Mountain Fest here this weekend. 30,000 bikers coming here to Morgantown. The place is going to be jumping tomorrow. You won't be able to walk in here. 30,000 bikers coming to Morgantown, West Virginia this weekend. Can't get a room between here and Pittsburgh.
Running a great steak special.
Best steaks around. Oh boy. Well, it looks like Robinson's in trouble. Can't get the ball in the pocket. Got lucky. Carried a brook, a light brook. Not good. Can't be relying on that. Although on this shot, sometimes that might be the safest arc. Tee shot for Angelo here. He starts striking early. Look out. He's my pick to win. A little straighter through the front there. No, jumped again. No, not there. He's trying to go straight through, but, you know, with the short oil and no hold in the middle, you know, it's just going to come off that oil and run left. Could see a lot of dull urethane on this pattern. A lot of sanded urethane, get it to burn up and flatten out a little on the back. Spares are treacherous. People throwing at spares with resin are making a big mistake on this shot. I believe you got to throw plastic straight and hard. Can't cover any boards. Can't have anything that rotates with a migrating core. Forget it. You got no chance to cross and pair to pair to make spares, unless you can flatten it out and throw rockets. Got Sam Cooley on lane 13 all the way from Australia. Sam's been here for 3 days practicing. He's staying with Brian Robinson, a wonderful young man, very quiet man. Really throws it good. Great game. See, that ball held pretty good. It looks like he's went to a urethane ball. Probably a booyah. I think it's a 900 global booyah. Sort of looked like to me. I'll find out, but that was pretty straight. Didn't really jump off the oil, which is what you got to do here. Straight to the front, no back end movement. And let's see what Angelo does on 15. The ball laid up pretty good the last shot. Let's see what he gets here. That looks pretty good there too. Oh yeah, great shot there. Looks like he's got 15 wide. 16's a little tricky. Going to see a lot of cross hits tonight. You can see it already. That ball, if you've got resin, it comes off that oil violently. And if you get it too far right, it'll hang. So you're sort of in a box. That's why I think straight with a dull urethane is probably going to give you a better chance to line up as you cross the house. But could carry down and tame the back end down a little, where you can pop a 260 in there and get a couple 190s. Be 40 over after 3, you're in great shape crossing this house, believe me. Topography here plays a major factor. These lanes are 50 years old, and they're synthetics laid over wood, and the synthetic took the topography of the wood, and you can see it on a lot of the panels. So anytime you put a sports shot out and you've got quite a topography difference from pair to pair, there's no way the scores are going to be anywhere in the high pluses. I'm figuring for the cut, we've got 4 squads. I'm figuring even on every squad. We're paying 1 and 7 will make the cut tomorrow, and 1 and 5 make the finals in the roving number. And I'm figuring even all the way through. Roving number and each squad will get you to the match play. First place is a guaranteed $5,000 tomorrow. We're very excited about the people that have decided to come here this weekend. We're very honored, and it's a great field. Adam Bard will be bowling Sunday. His team won. Of course, I think Zeke Bates coming from Columbus. I've heard he is. So we've got some Eagle winners, and obviously PBA champions, PWBA champion. So it should be exciting to watch. Let's see, David Bay went through the nose last time on lane 15, got a little slow, and Angelo has struck on that lane the last 2 times. I think if Dave keeps the speed up here and doesn't get soft, it looks like the easier of the 2 lanes. Let's see what he does. See, that was a little firmer. There he was, it held again. Keep the speed up on that lane. It looks like the ball goes long enough that it doesn't jump off the oil violently, where lane 16 definitely hooking more on the back end.
Move this way, you're out of the view. Come over this way.
I've just been told I'm out of the view. Actually, most people would prefer that, but I'll move a little and get in the view. I'm waiting for my sidekick, Brandon Williams, to get here. He's the tech whiz of the bowling center. He's what I used to be, now that I'm old. There it is. We bought our own streaming equipment. We're going to be using this all weekend. And for our Classic League here, the Morgantown Scratch Classic, where we have 16 teams, $16,000 added prize money, 16 sponsors. We'll be featuring them tomorrow as we talk about all their products, especially Brunswick and the Brunswick line. John Hill, Brian Graham, and everybody at Brunswick that's been so good to us.